I am Matt Goldberg. I'm the owner at Strategy First Finance, located in Dallas, Texas, and we would serve clients all across the country. Going back several years now, I guess. But I think the big problem for me was, and probably similar to most finance professionals, was actually getting access to the data in a format in a way that's easy. We know that the data is going to be accurate, and we can also combine different data sources together. Several different options available, right? And so I really needed something that would allow me to integrate data, but at the same time was simple enough for me to use, because I'm not an IT professional. I'm a finance guy, right? I know numbers. I needed something super simple, something that I could plug in. I had a good user interface, easy to do, but I also needed something that was adaptable, that was flexible, right? So some of the tools that I had looked at, I plug in, I get my data, and they tell me what reports I need to be looking at and the format of reports I need to be looking at. And so I'm stuck using a report from some guy who I've never met, who doesn't even know the name of the business that we're trying to report on. And it just didn't make sense to me, right? I want to see the data in the format that I want to see it. So I needed something that, could meet all those, all that criteria, right? Integrate data, simple to use, right? And I could, customize the format of the data and use it how I saw fit. For the most part, the struggle was, but again, I think this is pretty common, right? You spend all of your time, building these reports, and then the rest of your time, like let's say 80% of your time is spent, building reports, and then, another 15% of your time is like checking, formulas, especially in Excel, right? And so what you're left with is like 5% of the time to actually do the analysis, and like check for, what are the insights that, we can, deliver from this report. What does this data actually mean? And 5% of your time is just really, it's not enough. Reports are only as good as the data that you put into it, right? So if you're trying to combine different types of data, you're typically going to be using Excel, which means you're going to have a lot of formulas, and now might get pointed to a different cell. So you may not know, it may not be obvious that there's an error there, right? And the piece that you really want to avoid is showing inaccurate data to your clients, and your clients are the ones that figure it out, or even worse, right? No one figures it out, and decisions are made off of potentially inaccurate data. Right? And now we have it's reliable. We know that it's correct because humans aren't touching it. They aren't doing calculations in Excel. There's no formulas. Where it really helped us was on the more complex accounting entries for like our accruals, but like our assessments and allocations, right? So we knew having that, it drastically reduced our time to close, and it increased the reliability, right? We're no longer having to research, is our margin off because the assessment allocation was incorrect, right? Like those weren't a question anymore. And if we wanted to drill into it, we could easily get into that data because again, it's in Acterys, and we could just drill into what was there. There were probably a lot of things that I discovered with Acterys after I really got started with it. But one of the things that really caught my attention was the ability to add data, right? To access the data via Excel, right? And the write back via the Excel app, because that's a tool that I'm very familiar with, I was using all the time. I also liked the abilities to write back via Power BI. Obviously, we can pull the reports and the data in Power BI as well. Viewing the different solutions that were available to me, right? None of them had the functionality that I could access the data, using the tools that I was familiar with, or have the flexibility to report on the data the way I wanted to report on it. So, Acterys was the obvious choice at the time. Being in finance, like I love data, right? I love to do analysis. I love to dig into the details. But that's all kind of pointless if I can't then share it with somebody and it makes a difference, right? And so, where I think I've seen the biggest impact is, in the ability to have reliable data that we know is correct. We've vetted all the formulas. It makes it a lot easier to then generate reports that we can share with clients, and getting that feedback from them that we have, if the report is good, depending on the information, right, it can generate an actual conversation, a meaningful conversation about what's going on in their business. And then, working with them, 9 times out of 10, they'll come back with, okay, well, what if we do, what if we add this here? What if we do this? What if we look at, census by geography or whatever it is, right? And so then, now we're moving somewhere, we're getting somewhere, we're really trying to create value for them and that relationship, and it creates kind of a bigger bond. One of the best things is, right, we create a report that they end up using on their day-to-day, operations, right? right? Because then we get feedback on a daily basis, of what they're doing, how they're using it. We know that we've really, built something that they can use on a daily, on a daily basis. And we know that, that's a relationship that's going to be hard to break away from.